John Cena, where do I even begin?
When John Cena was not on the show, it just felt empty.
I was in a household, only child, single mother, so like you kind of need that one person's like never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect.
We've gotten to that point now that when the first note of John Cena's entrance theme hits, you know you're in for something special.
Whether you booed him or cheered him, he's WWE's last big megastar.
If you were on the Cena suck side of the chance, I'm sorry, but that's a L.
He brings something to the table that nobody has been able to duplicate.
And that's why I miss John Cena. He just made everything special.
John wanted the best for everyone watching at home.
But I also enjoy the fact that John Cena did so much for the community outside of it.
The guy is just a good human being, a genuine human being, and that's what stands out for me the most with John Cena.
My name's John. Don't have any wrestling experience. I'm a big fan. Former football player. Just too small to keep on playing football. I've always loved wrestling. I finally got a chance to come down to school, so I want to try it out and see what it's all about.
Oh, now Prototype shows the power. Oh, Proto Bomb!
Wait a minute!
2, 3, that's it, folks!
Your winner of the match, Prototype!
Who would have thought that this young Prototype would become the legendary superstar that he is today? John Cena has become an iconic figure in the wrestling business. The children adore him, the ladies want him, and all the guys want to be him. Without John Cena, WWE just doesn't feel the same. I actually made a video about this a couple years ago, but I realized I'm not the only one who misses him.
John Cena is literally one of the greatest sports entertainers of all time. When you think about WWE, you think about John Cena. I remember watching WWE every week, and whenever there was a week when John Cena was not on the show, it just felt empty. I don't know if empty is the right word, but it just didn't feel the same. But I feel like my real appreciation for John Cena came during 2015 during the United States Championship Open Challenge. He was having banger after banger after banger, dude. Plus, how can you hate a guy that grants over 500 Make-A-Wishes?
John Cena, he carried the WWE like Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. For me, John Cena was my childhood hero. I don't read comics. I don't know anything about Superman, Batman, Ant-Man, whatever. I don't know anything about that. My battle of good and evil was John Cena versus Randy Orton. Bald-headed Randy Orton. He was legitimately like Superman. Bright colors. And, well, he didn't wear a cape, but he had jorts, and them jorts were magical. The one thing that fascinated me the most about Cena is that his arm is the circumference of a human head because he has that armband wrapped around it. I bought the same one. I tried to put it on and it fell off like a big skirt. It's like putting a pinky in a hula hoop. It doesn't fit. But his giant, massive arm just wrapped it around like it was nothing. I bet a lot of you watching this watch sports outside of wrestling. Yeah, sure you do. I know I barely do. So my LeBron James was John Cena. My Tom Brady was John Cena. My Serena Venus Williams was John Cena. I was in a household, only child, single mother. So like you kind of need that one person's like never give up, hustle, loyalty, respect. Like, I could use that. That's kind of motivational. Thank you, Jonathan. He's a full and through red, white, and blue role model for many children. And people that don't get to experience John Cena growing up, I feel bad for you. What did you watch growing up? John Cena, I miss you.
Craps, row 7-11, your motherfucking mic is redden. Yo, cause I be busting your face. I come straight out, motherfuckers, yo. Kick in the bass, kick in your face with my freaking brand new Reeboks. You couldn't shoot me if you was packing 3 Glocks. Yeah, that's right. What you gonna do, fight?
John Cena's road to success was initially met with shortcomings. So much so that WWE believed he wasn't the guy that could carry this company. They were going to fire him, and that is when the Prototype took a look at himself in the mirror and knew that he was the real deal. The Doctor of Thuganomics was then born, and he didn't play by the rules. John Cena took what he wanted, roasted people left and right, and even took a piss on Undertaker's grave. Despite portraying a villainous character in the squared circle, John Cena was one of the biggest baby faces outside of it.
We've gotten to that point now that when the first note of John Cena's entrance theme hits, you know you're in for something special. He's at that phase of his career that The Rock was in like the mid-2000s, where he's transcended wrestling. There's a lot of John Cena fans out there who have never actually seen a John Cena match because he has all these movies and TV shows and commercials, but his true passion lies in wrestling. So when John Cena comes back, you know it's gonna be so good. And it's so interesting to me that the people that were screaming, "John Cena sucks," the loudest, no matter how much you didn't like John Cena, the WWE on-screen character, it is impossible not to like and respect John Cena, the man. And John Cena's been so kind to me every time that I've interviewed him. But back in 2019, WrestleMania 35, New York City, I was the only interview that he did the entire weekend. He told me we had exactly 10 minutes because he had something right before and right after. So at the 10-minute mark of our interview, I went to start wrapping up. "Oh, John, thank you so much." And he grabs his phone out of his pocket, looks at it and goes, "No, we've still got some more time. Keep going." And I was like, "What? How much more time do we have?" He's like, "I'll let you know, but just keep going." I asked him a few more questions. Like 5 minutes later, I go to wrap it up again. He's like, "Oh, hold on a second." Grabs his phone out of his pocket again. "You know what? You've got time for one more question." I'm just blown away that he didn't need to do an interview with me at all. But the fact that he was so generous with his time is something that I will never, ever forget.
Now, you know what? When John Cena arrived in WWE, I absolutely loved him. He was no nonsense, had fire lines, and looked like a main eventer. Seriously, in school, my friends and I would crack up at his best lines. By far was his line calling out Lesnar back in the day. "I'm gonna hang your ass like a Christmas tree ornament."
I'll whack you more times than a masturbation tournament.
Come on, whatever your age, you had to have a chuckle at that line. Cena was everything WWE wanted and more. He was idolized as a hero to young fans, put on stellar matches, my two favorites being Cena and Punk at Money in the Bank and Cena and Daniel Bryan at SummerSlam, two absolute classics. But you gotta understand, it was cool to hate him. But that's where my dumbass just didn't appreciate him enough. His character and presence is what's totally missing in today's WWE. Whether you booed him or cheered him, he's WWE's last big megastar. And that is by far a fact.
Is the knee 100% for tomorrow night?
Get a shot of that. The knee is not 100%. You can look me right here. I have a torn MCL. It was questionable whether or not I could even go. But you know John Cena, he's a man of the people. I'm coming out and I'm fighting for everybody out there representing. Everybody throwing us up. They're about to see what it's about tomorrow night.
It was only a matter of time before John Cena won the heart of the WWE Universe. He fulfilled the role that was missing since Hulk Hogan, becoming the hero that we all needed. The children went around repeating his signature catchphrase, "Never give up." But the inspiration didn't just end there. John Cena encouraged the young generation to live by these three words: hustle, loyalty, and respect.
I think John Cena is the greatest WWE superstar of all time. Just look at his run, look what he's done, and hey, look at the championships that he's won. He's tied with Ric Flair, you know, that's pretty crazy. I think John Cena should break Ric Flair's record, but hey, that's just me. Let's go Cena. Cena sucks. I mean, hey, if you were on the Cena sucks side of the chance, I'm sorry, but that's a L. It was always let's go Cena from Yo Simply Better King. That's all I'm saying. Now, ever since Cena stepped onto the scene when he slapped the taste up out of Mr. Clean Kurt Angle's mouth, it was crazy, man. I knew John Cena was gonna be dope. And who can forget about John Cena snapping with the rapping? My man went from a traditional looking professional wrestler to an MC of the WWE. It's crazy, come on. How can you forget some of them bars? When he slapped Stephanie McMahon on the... But look, do you know how much of an impact John Cena had? Who can forget the spinner belt? That's all I'm saying. Who can forget the spinner belt? My man brought that into play. The US and the WWE. But on a real note, John Cena has always been one of my favorite WWE superstars ever. So like, yeah, this is pretty easy for me to hop on here and to gas him up a little bit because he's dope and he's always been dope. And like I said before, if you want to Cena suck side, damn, I called it. I said once Cena goes, people gonna miss him. People missing John Cena all of a sudden. I mean, you know, you need to appreciate appreciate people while they're here. And that's exactly what I did throughout the run of John Cena. So thank you, John Cena, for all of the memories, all the crazy bars, and the hustle, the loyalty, and the respect, sir. I appreciate you.
John Cena, where do I even begin? Cena, to this generation of kids that grew as he did, is so much more than just a figure on TV. He's an icon. We were drawn to his swag, we were drawn to his confidence, and we were just hooked. He became the franchise, and when I was a kid, when I started watching in 03 and 04, I just gravitated towards him. He grinded it out every single week through thick and thin. This dude just showed up to work. Doesn't matter if you cheered him or you booed him. That man dedicated his life to this business, and I think now finally people realize his true star power. As a kid, everything was John Cena. At home, at school, I remember in gym class when we picked pennies, I always had to get 54. I drew his spinners in art. We had handshakes that would finish off with "You Can't See Me's." His influence on me as a kid was maybe a little bit too much because I got in trouble for saying naughty words and doing inappropriate gestures. So every day I was in the office, but that's what connects me to John Cena. He was such a cool guy that I was willing to get in trouble to emulate him. So many memories. But there was also a time where being a Cena fan wasn't so cool. And now all these years later, here we are. He did everything he possibly could for this company, and now we miss him. For some of us, that's our MJ, that's our Brady, that's our Babe Ruth, that's the guy. Doesn't matter if we're in our 30s or in our 60s, when we see Cena, a smile will come to our face. The dude has given us so many memories. When that day comes where the final salute is made and the wristbands are left in the ring, you best believe we're gonna be bawling our eyes out. That, simply put, is our childhood.
Night in and night out, John Cena brought absolutely the best quality of ring competition that he could. He got so much better over time as well, because that dude always gave 100% of his effort. He always gave 100% in his promos. He always gave his absolute best for the product. John wanted the best for everyone watching at home. But now that, for the most part, the people that grew up with John Cena are now older, we can look back and reflect on the fact that John Cena is, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the absolute, probably top tier WWE talents of all time. His run will never be duplicated again. And that's just a little bit of why I love John Cena.
As time passed, the kids who once loved John Cena eventually turned on him. While he still maintained a portion of his loyal audience, the boos grew, making him a polarizing figure. And so the famous chant was born: "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks." It was only years later when he altered the trajectory of his career, regaining support from his biggest haters.
I've been asked to give my opinion on John Cena and why we miss John Cena, how we miss John Cena. I was never the biggest John Cena fan, ever. I hated John Cena. In fact, John Cena during the second portion of his career was somebody that I come to admire. I actually admired what John Cena was and what he brought to the table in WWE. It all starts with his United States Championship run in 2015. John Cena put his name and his value on the line against the mid-card of WWE, and everybody was better for it. That's what I miss about John Cena. John Cena then in 2015 and John Cena now, as we see him, continues to put the future of WWE on his back every single time he is there, and he has a mentality in which the future is most important. He realizes that there's nobody there right now, including your head of the table, that even hold a fucking candle to John Cena. Why do I miss John Cena? Because John Cena, every single time he is there, and he will continue to do that until his last ride off into the sunset, which I hope ends in his 17th World Championship. Yeah, I hated John Cena's first run. Now I'm singing a different tune because he's earned it. He's deserved it. John Cena is somebody that I look to when coming back to WWE television, and I get excited about because we know that he brings a level of importance to the show that is absolutely needed and sorely missing. He brings something to the table that nobody has been able to duplicate. Why do I miss John Cena? Because of those reasons.
It actually took me years to appreciate John Cena. You know, growing up, I was a Randy guy. All my relatives were cheering for John Cena, but I was a cool kid. I was cheering for Randy because he's a bad guy. And when I was a teenager, I was a CM Punk guy. Only years later, I actually realized that John Cena was that good. He deserved to be in that spot. I really started liking Cena when I felt like every match John Cena is in just felt special. That's when I realized we were wrong. There's a reason they call John Cena Big Match John. And I've also realized that John Cena was not only fun to love, he was really fun to hate. Like hating on John Cena, cheering for people that I wasn't supposed to cheer for. These are some of my favorite wrestling memories. Like you're trying to hate John Cena, but you actually know that you're probably wrong for doing that. In my opinion, John Cena was the face of professional wrestling. Having episodes of Monday Night Raw without John Cena just felt like episodes of a TV show without the main character. And that's why I miss John Cena. He just made everything special. So when John Cena left, you know, it was really hard to get used to, and you know, ever since then, it just never felt the same. The main character of a TV show left. And I know at this point, we're probably not gonna get John Cena being a full-timer anymore, but hopefully, we're gonna get at least one more run.
That's pretty cool.
This is what you gave him. He made sure that through my cancer journey, as a mom, Cena says never give up. And I'm now cancer-free.
That's great. That's great.
And here we are in 2022. John Cena is in Hollywood. He's moved on. As much as we want to be selfish and have him stay in WWE forever, we can't limit his impact to just wrestling. John Cena has outgrown the WWE. It's time we allow him to spread his positivity, compassion, and empathy to a kid in need of a hero the same way when we needed one.
As a kid watching wrestling growing up, you kind of learn about some of the greatest to ever step foot in the ring. But there was one night specifically where I realized a new star was made. In fact, it's really funny when you think about it. This guy, he walks down to the ring with the worst attire that you could even imagine. And when he walks down to the ring, he actually loses his match. But what's crazy about it is just moments later, he gets confronted by my favorite wrestler of all time. He got the stamp of approval from The Undertaker. And that right there is when I realized WWE has created a new star. John Cena went from being a guy with the worst attire ever to becoming one of the biggest and most influential WWE superstars of all time. And what really made me enjoy John Cena was not only that he was a good wrestler, a good sports entertainer, a great character, but I also enjoy the fact that John Cena did so much for the community outside of it. John Cena for sure was hands down one of the best. And, you know, he kind of did what he said he wouldn't do, and that was go Hollywood. But even that, for some reason, he always finds his way back, even at times when it's needed the most. And that is when I really realized that I really appreciated and missed John Cena. In fact, I wish he could come back for WrestleMania 39, but only time will tell.
John Cena is just a special individual. The guy gets it. The guy understood from the very, very beginning that he can make a massive difference to the people and their lives. And he did that through his Make-A-Wish campaigns, through his anti-bullying campaigns, and all the other community projects. That's what defines John Cena to me. He had an unbelievable WWE Hall of Fame career. Truly unbelievable from the very beginning with the ruthless aggression all the way to his most recent run. But what always defines me is the positivity, the vibe, the spirit, and you always believed what John Cena had to say. The guy is just a good human being, a genuine human being, and that's what stands out for me the most with John Cena.